We stepped off our flight from Europe and flew straight to the city of Pokhara. There, we caught our first glimpse of the Annapurna range, whose peaks touch 8,000 meters. The next morning, we set off along the bumpy roads to meet Dev Tamang, a bus driver whose route takes him to Jompsum, along one of the most dangerous roads in the world. The view through the windows down the steep ravines made it a nail-biting journey. We then headed beyond the Himalayas to the Mustang region, where the mountains became more barren. We climbed higher to meet Deepak. He was difficult to find, as he lived in a place so remote that it had no name. His home was along a small track under a cliff, cut into the steep mountainside. Behind his house, he had a pen for his 200 goats. Each day, he roams the steep mountains, protecting them from snow leopards. The next day, we needed to get to the southern plains, near the Chitwan National Park. But the high winds blowing through the valley meant that no flights could land, so we decided to make the 15-hour bone-shaking drive. The following day, we met DB Chowdhury at his Vulture restaurant. DB is a conservationist who has been fascinated by creatures and plants since he was a boy. His mission has been to rehabilitate vultures, whose population has declined by 90% over the last 20 years, through eating the meat of dead cows that has been treated with certain medicines. The Vulture restaurant is a place where vultures can eat safe meat. It was amazing to see about 200 vultures devour an entire cow in half an hour. As they stripped it bare to the bone, a couple of rhinos arrived to see what was going on. That afternoon, we accompanied DB on an anti-poaching patrol. In the jungle, they use elephants because they can go to places that cars can't reach, and the mahouts get a better view from up on the elephant's back. From there, we headed to the far east of Nepal, near the Indian border. The landscape changed from tea plantation to forest to bamboo, which is the staple diet of the red panda. Here we met Pema, a conservationist striving to protect red pandas. A lot of her work involves coordinating with the local community, and we stayed with a family in Jobari village, which is part of the conservation program. It was time to go high and meet the Sherpas. To save 3 days of traveling, we took a helicopter to the tiny village of Langtang. We needed to slow down and acclimatize. As we waited, we explored the village, seeing how the Sherpas grow their food and meeting the local yaks. In the afternoon, we started the slow hike up to the next village, Kanjin. The evening was spent huddled around the one wooden stove. After a cold night, we set off at dawn with the two Sherpas, Sonam and Ongchu, for the spectacular climb to the Kanjin Ray Peak. When we reached the summit at 4,300 meters, we were surrounded by prayer flags put there by the Sherpas, who believe the wind blows the mantras and blessings around the world. We returned to Kathmandu to meet Chedup at his bar Jazz Upstairs. The next day we were to accompany him, scouting on his motorbike for venues for his Jazz Mandu festival, which attracts musicians from around the world. Our journey had taken us to the north, south, and east of this mountainous country. We had passed the slopes of Everest and had the privilege to meet Nepalese working in this jewel of a country.